Hello, everybody, and welcome to another top 10 list. This week we are breaking down my favorite cards from the hero packs for the Mad Titan Shadow Wave, aka Wave number 4. I had to think about that. That's the murky area of the list. So today we are talking about Spectrum, Adam Warlock, War Machine, Nebula, Valkyrie, and Vision. 6 new heroes this week, and I will say that this is a grouping of heroes that I have a little less experience with. I have a lot of experience with Valkyrie for obvious reasons, and then the other ones I will say that I have very spotty experience with, but at the same time I've played with all of them. I do have at least strong opinions about one or two of them, and so thankfully this list is going to be pretty easy. I will even say that this was one of the first lists where I had honorable mentions to some extent, where I had to sit there and really break it down and go, okay, I think I've come up with 12 cards. What are the top 10 going to be? So let's dive right into it. Let's waste no more time, and let's talk about my number 10, which is Karmic Blast, a 2-cost event from the Adam Warlock pack with the attack and superpower traits, and the hero action of deal 4 damage to an enemy and discard up to 4 cards from the top of your deck. Deal 1 additional damage to that enemy for each different aspect discarded this way. And with the old text, it says the aspects are aggression, justice, leadership, and protection. Obviously, Pool is now on the table here, and Adam Warlock's deck building allows him to pick 4 of the aspects and, have them in all perfect balance. I guess what I really like about this card is that I don't have a whole lot of love for Adam Warlock, and I'll say that his hero pack is kind of dull to me to some extent. It's just the games I've played with Adam Warlock, I had a lot more fun just trying to come up with a singleton deck to kind of complement what he was doing. And so this felt like it was the meeting of all of those things that I do enjoy about Adam Warlock. It is playing into his theme of wanting a balance of aspects. This plays off that really well. You right off the bat, you deal 4 damage. That's pretty good for a 2-cost event. And then, in my experience, you are probably going to end up dealing about 6 damage with this. The times I played with it, I think I dealt pretty consistently 6 damage, because you'd hit an Adam Warlock card, you'd hit a aggression card, protection card. It all kind of goes in whatever way possible. I don't remember if he has any kind of top deck manipulation. I'm drawing a blank there. I don't have a lot of experience with Adam Warlock. He's a hero to me is defined more by the aspect cards than his own cards. And I don't know that I've ever met someone who's a strong, stand for Adam Warlock, which is a shame. I think he's a really cool character in the comics. He's just not the most compelling character in our game, unfortunately. But that is my number 10. Let's move on to my number 9. Let's talk a little bit more positively about the game. And that is the 1-cost event from the Vision pack, Mass Increase. A defense and superpower traded card. Play only if Vision is in dense mass form. And here, interrupt of defense. When Vision defends, prevent all damage from that attack. Stun the attacking enemy after this attack resolves. What I love about this is it just plays in so thematically into what Vision does. Additionally, I like that obviously it does come with the additional cost that you have to be in dense form. I've never really had a problem matching the forms for Vision, so I don't see that as much of a tax. If anything, it is valuing players that want to think through their turns. You need to have a plan when you're playing with Vision. You can't just kind of like play off the cuff a whole lot. You need to plan it out a little bit, because the mass form is something you do need to take into consideration. But again, I've never had trouble getting into the correct mass form. It's just a matter of making sure that you're sequencing your turns. This is just such an incredible defense card, and I think that it makes it so that in a modern context, I never have a problem making Vision into a perfect defense deck if that's what I'm aiming for, because right in his kit he has a way to make sure that he doesn't take any damage. Additionally, being able to stun the attacking enemy just buys you an extra turn. The other day I was playtesting a scenario for a series I'm going to be doing in the future, and using Bucky, and I was impressed by when I was able to stun the villain I was going up against. It really changed the math, where it's just like, okay, now I know that I'm good to make it into the next, I bought myself an extra round. I do think that if I have that extra round, I might not even need to worry about the attack after that, but I know that I'm good there. And the power of stun, obviously stun locking is a very strong archetype, but overall I look at it and I think about what Vision's capable of doing, able to go into his dense form, which unfortunately, let me see here. Let me pull that up so I can just make sure that I am representing that correctly. Boom Guy will eventually probably hear this, and if I get too much wrong about Vision, I will definitely hear about it in the comics. Let me just make sure I have what attributes. Okay, so his dense form, while in hero form, he gets +2 attack, +2 defense. After you change to this mass form, draw a card. Okay, so yeah, like I said, I don't really ever have a problem getting into the version that I need to be in, because obviously just as an action, Vision can change his upgrade. But just being able to get into that form, you already have a high defense, so if you're going up against multiple, because he is also somebody that likes to collect minions to some extent, but it's like if you can buy yourself that free turn, block the villain's attack, and then that your defense is going to be high enough that you can just maybe defend against that minion. If they really, if your life total's getting low, or they have it out for you, you've got that guaranteed mass defense upgrade with you. But either way, a lot to say about a card that I think is pretty simple. It's very strategic value. It has its purpose, and overall, it's it topped my favorite defense cards overall in the game for a reason. I think it's a really cool card, and I think it's thematic, and I think it's just a great Vision card. Moving on to my number 8, we have the 1-cost upgrade out of the Nebula pack called Wide Stance. It is a technique traded, which is important. While Nebula is in hero form, reduce the amount of damage he takes from each attack by 1. And then the special on here is look at the top 3 cards of the encounter deck, discard 1, and put the others back in any order. And the special is important because obviously Nebula has her force response, where after your turn begins, you resolve the special ability on each technique upgrade you control, and then discard each technique upgrade resolved this way. So the important thing here is just that obviously you're going to be reducing the amount of damage you take while you're in hero form, which is important. You go into hero form, you go to the villain phase, you're reducing the damage. When you start your turn, you're going to lose this card, but you're going to be able to look at the top 3 cards of the encounter deck, discard one of them that doesn't really work out for you. It does help to set that up. I'm impressed whenever a hero has the ability to, in their pack, do encounter deck manipulation. Obviously, there's also the fact that you can get strategic with this. You can sit there and go into Alter Ego. You can collect these techniques. I believe when you're in Alter Ego, whenever you play a technique, you draw a card. Her techniques are generally pretty inexpensive, so it's just a good way to sift through your deck really quick. But overall, yeah, I love Wide Stance just for making it easier to stay in hero form, and then it's one that I want to have that's going to be collected with other techniques, so that you're reducing the amount of damage you take. Yes, you are getting a massive advantage by controlling the top of the encounter deck. And solo, this is basically saying, what do I want my boost card to be? What do I want my encounter card to be? Super great. In multiplayer, it can be a little bit more strategic, helping out the group overall. But yeah, overall, just like I said, I want to have this as a card that is collected with other techniques, so that it's making staying in hero form before I go into that huge technique turn into something bigger and better. And yeah, overall, just I love this card. I think that Nebula as a hero is underrated. I don't see her, obviously she's an older character, but I feel like more and more cards come out, and I never hear anybody kind of like say, oh, this would go really well in Nebula. And I have to think that's also because I don't necessarily know there's a lot of Nebula stands. I think that she is a pretty good hero. I would say that she probably falls into the top half. I'd have to go look at my pub meeple thing to kind of say like most recently where did I fall on that. But either way, like I like Nebula. I'd like to think that she's probably, I know she's in my top like 2/3. I want to say she's probably in the top half of all the heroes. I think she's very interesting. I think that she rewards just a lot of forethought, and so yeah, for overall, I like that. I like her as a hero, and I like Wide Stance. Moving on to my number 7, we have Phase Disruption, a 2-cost event from the Vision pack. Superpower trait, and play only if Vision is in the intangible form. Again, I'm not too concerned about that. It's pretty easy to set that up with enough forethought. Hero action, confuse an enemy, choose an attachment on that enemy with hero action or hero response, and discard that attachment. So the first time that I ever played with Vision was up against Crossbones. And my oh my, did having this on the first turn just make handling the, what is that called? That's not the Weapon Master, Experimental Weapon Deck. So the Experimental Weapon Deck, where you are drawing these super powered or super powerful weapons that Crossbones using to try to take you down. This was just a cheat code for that. You just go and you go bloop, the weapon is gone, and you're just sort of playing on well, it's not even ground. You're kind of cheating, but you're not playing on a perceived level playing field with the villain. This is something that we see with Magneto. I believe this is something that also is seen in Shadowcat's pack, if memory serves. But yeah, overall, this is just a cool thing. You confuse the enemy. It's got aim on there. So actually, thematically, this also handles villains or the minions that have the new keyword where when they become confused, you just discard them. So I guess that sort of does double duty there. You can get rid of an attachment anyway. But yeah, overall, if you want to do this, you confuse the villain. You get rid of their super powerful thing. Like this probably is very good against Ronin because the ultimate weapon is definitely a thing. But yeah, this applies to so many places, and I think that it's a card that does a lot of work. I would be surprised if there's a lot of people that don't even think about it as a Vision card. But to me, like I said, it definitely defined the first game I played with Vision. Happened by happenstance. I had this in my opening hand. I'd played Crossbones before, but I didn't know this card. I didn't know his pack well enough to know that this was a card in his pack. And then when I drew it, I was like, I'm not mulliganing this away. I'm just going to play this straight up. This is pretty awesome. And yeah, just it makes for good stories. Even though this is kind of a simple story, I'm still a character that loves good stories. Moving on to my number 6, we have Flight of the Valkyrier from the Valkyrie pack. It is a 2-cost upgrade with the response of after the enemy with the Death Glow is defeated, discard Flight of the Valkyrier, remove 5 threat from a scheme. So this ranks up very highly for me just because I have a lot of faith in Valkyrie. Is she the best hero? No, she's not the best hero. She's not in the top 10. She might not even be in the top 20. I think there's people that would put her in their bottom 5. I don't see her that way. I think that she's a very interesting hero with just a chip on her shoulder and a puzzle to crack. But overall, I think this is such a great way to take what she's doing with her mechanic with the Death Glow, which I suppose the Death Glow was on the table to be a card, and I'm pretty sure it's not a card that's on this list. But either way, I think this takes her Death Glow gimmick and definitely helps to make her threat assessment or her ability to handle schemes much more tangible. And that's not something that a lot of people will say, but I've played enough games with Valkyrie that I think this is a stellar card. And just being able to plan that you don't have to do this on the first time you take out an enemy, but you sit there and you just go, you know what, I'm going to take out this enemy with the Death Glow on it. The threat's going to go from 7 down to 2. We're golden. Let's just keep moving forward. Let's be constructive. And yeah, overall, I think this is such a great card. I think it plays into everything. It's so thematic what she's trying to do. And yeah, that's why it made it into my top 10 and made it to my number 6. But moving on to my number 5 and turning the corner to the top of the list, we have the 2-cost upgrade from the Spectrum pack, Energy Duplication. It is a superpower with the hero, a superpower trait with the hero response of Exhaust Energy Duplication. Generate the printed resource on your face-up energy form upgrade. And so this answers the question of why do these suit upgrades, or why do these energy upgrades have printed resources on them when they're never going to be in your hand? They're always just going to be, flipping around in front of you. For the most part, I would say that the resource you generate doesn't come up a lot, but it does make it so that Spectrum is a hero that can match requirements fairly easy. I will fully admit that unlike someone like Vision, who I'm not worried about what form he's going to be in, similar to, I guess, like, Angel has multiple forms you can go into, Ant-Man, Shadowcat, all these different forms. Like, Spectrum is admittedly a character that is on the more difficult side to be getting her energy forms, because if I remember correctly, I think that you can go into Alter Ego and do it, or maybe it's when you go into Alter Ego and you flip to hero form. I don't remember. The cards will be up on the screen. But I will fully admit, getting into the energy form you need can be difficult. Her events that care about that definitely could push you into whatever one you need to be in. If you happen to be in the right one, you do get that kicker effect. But this just comes down, it doesn't really matter Like I said, if you're worried about requirements, you can definitely err on the side of trying to make that happen. But for the most part, this is just a 2 cost. Make the printed resource you need. It costs 2. It's pretty inexpensive. It doesn't go away. It doesn't have uses. It just does what it does. And yeah, overall, I don't remember. I don't think I have any more. Yeah, I don't have any more Spectrum cards on the list. Spectrum is a hard hero to love. I think that she has a lot of what I would consider to be B- cards, and then I would consider this to be like a B+. It's not stellar. It's not great. I do think that overall I do get a lot of use out of it, and I am somebody that enjoys playing Spectrum, but I will fully admit that she has her flaws. But energy duplication is not one of those flaws. Next up at my number 4, we have out of the Nebula pack, Weapons Master, a 1-cost upgrade, technique again. While in hero form, Nebula has Retaliate 1. Definitely want to team this up with Wide Stance, and the special ability on it is it has the attack trait deal 4 damage to an enemy. So this is a nice way to get rid of a stun. Probably not the way you want to get rid of the stun, but this is a way to get rid of a stun if you happen to have it. The Retaliate's nice because, especially teamed up with Wide Stance, you're taking 1 less damage or dealing an extra damage to every enemy that attacks you. Like I said, this is not the place where you want to get rid of the stun. If that happens, it's unfortunate. But dealing 4 damage is pretty good. I remember, if I remember correctly, she's a 2/2/2 hero. She's a 2/2/2 hero. So this is effectively 2 of your attacks. And overall, just being able to take out a problem minion that might have guard, being able to just push the villain to the next stage. Whatever you're doing with this Weapon Master is certainly a card that will do what you need, and I would not shy away from it. And that's why it made it into my top 10, and that's why it is my number 4. Moving on to number 3, we return back to the Valkyrie pack with the 2-cost support Valhalla. It has the Asgard and location traits, and the response of after Valkyrie attacks and defeats the enemy with the Death Glow attached, exhaust Valhalla, draw 1 card, and heal 1 damage from Valkyrie. I'm trying to think who this overlapped with. I guess like you can sort of draw a line between Valkyrie and Winter Soldier. I also suppose to some extent Tigra is one of those characters that people have making a lot of comparisons about how she works and Valkyrie works. And actually that probably is the one that I was trying to think of. But Valhalla is a really good card. It's unfortunate that you only get 1 use out of this, but it does give you, 1, it heals you, which can be super nice, just being able to take off a couple hit points here and there, but then being able to draw cards so that you can basically put the Death Glow back down, maybe make another attack, is just really well appreciated. I don't think this is an underrated card. I think it's just on an underrated hero. Overall, I like this card. It is definitely one that I hard mulligan for because if you have this and her weapon, the Dragon Fang, you are pretty well set up to just like take out an enemy, bounce the Death Glow back to your hand, ready back up, heal a damage, draw a card, put the Death Glow onto something, attack it. You still get to ready back up with Valkyrie. You don't draw another card, but that if you have Valhalla, if you have Dragon Fang, if you have just either one of those 2 cards, you're probably very well set up. But Valhalla, I think, is what really pushes you over, makes playing Valkyrie really, really fun. And it's unfortunate that this is just a one-of card because I do think that it's just one of those cards that it so easily makes Valkyrie into a very fun hero to play with, being able to combo off. I think of the fight between Captain America and Thanos a lot when Valkyrie's getting into her business, where Cap just like throws the hammer, or what was it in Endgame? Did he throw the shield and then it bounced off of Thanos and he throws the hammer and it bounces back at Thanos? Like, just when you get into really good, you get into the right cadence with Valkyrie, it just feels like you're like comboing off, and it feels really good. And I realized that like I'm old man shouting at clouds, like, Valkyrie's an okay hero. And it's cards like this that really do it, to sort of make that all buttery smooth. But that's enough about Valhalla. And let's move on to my number 2, which is probably going to be controversial for some people. So let's talk about Vivian, the 2-cost ally out of the Vision pack. She's an ally with the Android and Champion traits. She has 1 thwart, 1 attack, and 2 health. And while you are in intangible form, Vivian has +2 thwart. While you're in dense form, Vivian has +2 attack. This is probably a little controversial because I would say this is potentially the best identity-specific ally in the game. Easily in the top 5, probably in the top 3, might be the best identity-specific ally in the game. And that's why part of this list does come down to preferences. It comes down to my own opinions. I do think she's a very, very good card. I have not gotten the same use out of her that I've seen other people, where you basically give her a bunch of health and let her just be the hero or whatever. I think that strategy is very good. I have not gone out of my way to do that. At the same time, I can think of putting a lot of like honorary X-Men, a lot like the shield, honorary shield agent, whatever that's called. Like just have the entire table handing out traits is probably really good. Honorary Avenger, whatever have you. The reboot card to ready her back up. This is a very, very good card, and it's very effective, and you can do exactly what you need. If you need to be in the thwarting role, you can just have her thwarting for 3 every turn. If you need to be the attacker, you can just have her attacking for 3 every turn. It is very, very, very good. You can heal her back up, you can give her extra health, everything. Like, I am not in disagreement of that. It's just at the end of the day, Vivian is a very good card that I happen to just like. In this card pool, I just like her as number 2. That's bold, because that also means that over the entire scope of the game, I value other cards over her. But either way, let's get to my number 1. Let some of the tension go over. I'm not a huge fan of this hero, but here we are. We're talking about Shoulder Cannon. The 2-cost upgrade. It is a tech and weapon traded upgrade with the hero action of Exhaust Shoulder Cannon. Deal 1 damage to an enemy. You may remove 1 ammo counter from War Machine to ready Shoulder Cannon. So this is, I think, a really stellar card. It is a story maker. I watched Andy N, who made the Mr. Negative scenario recently, maybe maybe it was like 8 weeks ago. I was playing with him and his brother, and additionally Band of Sirens, who did the custom art for Con of Heroes. They're all local. I was playing with them a couple weeks ago, and Andy did a lot of really good work with Shoulder Cannon. It reminded me of how much I love the card, and it feels good, like that. Like I was describing that Captain America Thanos moment from Endgame. It's not the same in this case, but it sort of feels the same, where it's like you hit an enemy for 1, you remove a counter, you ready this back up, you hit an enemy for 1. Like, obviously there are better things you could be doing with War Machine as a whole. You could be taking off a bunch of counters, doing whatnot, but Shoulder Cannon is the card that just sits in play, and I feel like just does a lot of work. We kept joking during this game that Shoulder Cannon was putting enemies into Winter Soldier range, or Bucky range. You get them down to 2 health, or 2 or less health. Bucky comes over, defeats them, removes 2 threat from a scheme. Maybe you ready back up Bucky. He does it again and again. But like, this is a rare card that I think I value because it does so much work in multiplayer. And I'm not a huge multiplayer player. I'd like to do more of it, but it's not always in the cards. I'm not always available, and I'm in a part of Minnesota that's just far enough from the main locals group that I can't always make it out. But when I can, I do enjoy it. And like I said, this card I think probably would have been in my top 5 previous to that game. But after being reminded of just how fun it is, I was like, yeah, this is my number 1. It's purely for the fun. It's not necessarily for the power. It's for the stories, and I love telling stories. And so yeah, that is my top 10. This is my entire list. We will be moving on to the 3rd wave with the Galaxy's Most Wanted in the coming weeks. But until next time, thank you so much for your time. Have a great day, and remember, you are doing great. Keep it up.